Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Daniel Safi binti Azizi and I am the first presenter, which will start with the introduction. Every country contains their own historical story that everyone should take part in to get to know it. Brunei Darussalam is one of the most successful and progressive countries that everyone already knows. The official name of this wealthy, oil-rich country that became independent of British control, although it was never an outright colony in 1984, is Brunei Darussalam, from Arabic for abode of peace. In this video, we are going to show you the background of the Brunei Darussalam country, which contains historical, political system, economic, social and cultural aspects. Every country is facing their own problems, and Brunei Darussalam is also not missing from all of these current issues. So, we will discuss the domestic issues from politics, security, economics, and society based on the country that we had selected. The people of Brunei enjoy so much from its government because it is a country where education is free and compulsory from ages 5 to 16. Basically, the literacy percentage of the people of Brunei is 60%. Brunei Darussalam is a pleasant sultanate with a rich cultural past and is known for its lush rainforests overflowing with colorful flora and fauna. The country is a beautiful blend of its preserved heritage and the modern world into which it has grown. Without wasting any time, let's move swiftly to the next content, where we will be able to get to know further about Brunei history, and at once we could add some new knowledge about other countries' history too.
My name is Emiliana Rengga and I will be presenting for the Brunei historical background. So first of all, during 14th until 16th century, Brunei was a powerful kingdom. Brunei began trading with China in the 6th century and grew into a strong state until the 16th century, thanks to its loyalty to the Javanese Majapahit kingdom from the 13th to the 15th centuries. On 15th century was the arrival of Islam, with the downfall of the Majapahit Empire and wide adoption to Islam in the early 15th century. On 1839 was the arrival of James Brooke. Brunei, on the other hand, fell into crisis mode and lost Sarawak in 1841. James Brooke, an English explorer, came to Borneo in 1839 and assisted the Sultan in stopping a rebellion. As a result, he was granted the title of governor and eventually Raja of Sarawak in northwest Borneo, eventually strengthening his influence over the region. On 1888 was British Protectorate, and during 1941 until 1945 was the Japanese occupation. And during late 1950s and early 1960s, Brunei resisted pressures to join neighboring Sabah and Sarawak in the newly formed Malaysia. The Sultan eventually decided that Brunei would remain an independent state. And during 1960s, there was a small rebellion. While during 1967, Sir Muda Hasan Bolkiah becomes 29th Sultan following his father's handing over. By the age of 22, Sultan Bolkiah was crowned, replacing his father, Sir Omar Ali Saifuddin, who had stepped down. During his rule, the Sultanate had become wealthy due to the exploitation of the huge Syria oil field. Brunei has wide petroleum and natural gas fields and become one of Asia's highest per capita incomes, and the Sultan is viewed as one of the world's wealthiest men. The money gained from these resources is allocated to the people in order to persuade them to support the absolute monarchy system. Brunei has been ruled by the same family for nearly 6 centuries. And on 1st January 1984, Brunei was finally independent from British. And on 23rd February 1984, Brunei has free from British protection. And on 1987, Brunei has joined ASEAN. The next part is Brunei political system. Brunei political system is absolute monarchy and Brunei's legislature is unicameral. And the head of state is Sultan Hasan al-Bolkiah Muizzuddin. Under Brunei's 1959 constitution, the Sultan is the head of state, which is Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah Muizzaddin, has full executive authority, including emergency powers, since 1962. And then there are 4 councils, which consist of Religious Council, Privy Council, Council of Succession, and Council of Cabinet Ministers. The Sultan is advised on policy matters by 4 councils, which has been stated, and the Council of Ministers, which currently consists of 9 members, including the Sultan himself, assists in the administration of the government. The Sultan presides over the cabinet as Prime Minister and also holds the positions of Minister of Defense and Minister of Finance. One of Sultan's brothers, Prince Mohammed, served as Minister of Foreign Affairs. Next is Brunei's legal system. Brunei has separate civil and religious court systems. The legal system also based on English common law. Appeals go to Religious Council in religious cases, and to the High Court, and then to Court of Appeal in other cases. A phased introduction of a stricter penal code based on Sharia law is underway. All major judicial posts are filled by the Sultan's appointees. Based on English common law, with an independent judiciary, a body of written common law judgment and statutes, and legislation enacted by the Sultan. Most cases are tried to be the local magistrate courts. And the last one is main political organizations, which is Parti Pembangunan or PP, which in English is National Development Party. There is currently one legal political party, the Parti Pembangunan, which was legalized in 2005. Other parties were deregistered by the government in 2007 until 2008. The PP appears to be inactive. Promotion of the national ideology of Melayu Islam Beraja or Malay Islamic monarchy has intensified since 1990.
Next, let's move to the background of Brunei in terms of their economic. First of all, economic in Brunei is seen as a mix of international and indigenous business, where it emphasizes government regulation and welfare programs. Brunei economy is almost entirely reliant on the extraction of its massive petroleum and natural gas reserve. Brunei invested heavily in the 1970s, raising revenue from petroleum export while keeping government spending low and consistent. Besides, Brunei has placed emphasis on agriculture and fisheries sector. Brunei has recognized the value of agriculture, and the government have become self-reliant in poultry and egg production, also in vegetable cultivation. Indeed, due to Brunei capabilities as the world's largest consumer of fish per capita, Brunei has achieved a high level of fish import. For the social aspect, hierarchical and pyramid structure constitute Brunei traditional structure, where their membership is primarily defined by birthright. In addition, Sultan and the royal family are at the top of the traditional hierarchy based on the principle of relative power and fame. Furthermore, in this structure, the population of Brunei are separated into 2 broad groups, which is known as nobles and non-nobles. In terms of their social organization, Brunei is an absolute monarchy in the sense that the monarch or sultan classified as the head of state and the head of government. In producing a complex government, Brunei also used a dual system of government that combined traditional and modern elements. The traditional system is still in use, although it is only important to the royal court. Besides, the modern system is liable for the overall administration in their country. For a cultural perspective, in terms of their religion, Brunei culture is heavily influenced by Malay culture and Islam. As we all know, under the Malay Islamic monarchy system, the ruling king is portrayed as the country defender of Islam, while the State Ministry of Religious Affairs promote Islam in Brunei. Despite that, there are also Brunei non-Muslim population that dominated by Christian and Buddhist. Furthermore, Malay is the official language of Brunei, which is spoken primarily by the Malay ethnic community. However, the Malay spoken culture in Brunei is distinct from the mainstream Malay language, as there is a dialect of Brunei Malay that may be described as distinct from standard Malay speech. Moreover, Brunei also practices English language. As we all know, in 1985, the bilingual system of education was implemented, where Malay language was taught for the first 3 years of primary school and most courses taught in the English beginning in the 4th year.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Samiti Manasih, and today I will present with you about the political issues of Brunei. As we all know, Brunei political system is governed by the constitution and the national tradition of the Malay Islamic monarchy, or we call it as a MIP. The three components of MIP was covered: Malay culture, Islamic religions, and the political framework under the monarchy. Besides that, it has a legal system based on English common law, although Islamic law, which is Sharia, supersedes this in some cases. However, the politics of Brunei was placed in the framework of an absolute monarchy. So here are another few political issues that I will explain with you guys. Alright, here are the first issue of politics was first make a claim to the Limbang area. Brunei was claimed the area of Limbang from Malaysia by an agreement signed on March 16, 2009. This was resulted in Malaysia that losing oil field of the coast of Limbang. Petronas exploratory partnership with Murphy Oil Corporation of the United States has come to an end. It was because the Limbang was no longer a Malaysian territory. Furthermore, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea (UNCLOS) of 1982 states that Limbang is a part of Brunei. However, LLE also stated that Brunei has renounced its claims to Limbang and has agreed that Limbang is now part of Malaysia. Alright, next is put the Hudud Law into effect. And it was a bit political issue and thought to be quite serious. The Sharia criminal law order was declared in 2013 and instated in 2014. It was heavily criticized and delayed for nearly 5 years. However, human rights groups are outspoken in their opposition. In addition, Brunei seeks to apply the Sharia panel that calls SPCO, which stipulates that arbitrary and rape are punishable by flogging and stoning to death. Last but not least, the person who took the law, which was completely implemented, is likely to be rebuilt in states leads to existential resistance. And that's all for me.
Next is security issue in Brunei. Brunei doesn't have any cases that related to dangerous weapons or illegal drugs. Be that as it may, there are instances of sneaking of petrol or diesel, cigarettes and other staged merchandise are of customary occurrence because of popularity from the two sides. One of the current security issues in Brunei is expanding quantities of exercises on illegal, unreported and unregulated IUU fishing both by neighborhood as well as unfamiliar fishing vessels. According to the IUU Fishing Index in 2021, Brunei is ranking 45 of 152 countries, the highest IUU and ranking 11 of 20 countries from Asia. The highest here is mean bad news to Brunei. The number of IUU keep increasing over the year. There are a lot of methods that they use to catch fish and mostly it gives negative impact not only to the country but also to the ecosystem of the sea. The illegal forms of fishing in Brunei are fishing in restricted zone, fishing without a license, misusing a fishing gear license, fishing within 500 meters of oil field facilities, which is safety zone, fishing with forbidden gears, reckless fishing, and fishing with cyanide and blast fishing. One of the methods used is explosive or blast fishing. Explosions have the power to generate large craters on the sea floor ranging in size from 10 to 20 square meters. They not only kill the chosen fish but also other nearby pieces. When coral reefs are damaged, the process of rebuilding might take years. To combat the increasing of IUU, Brunei implemented Brunei Darussalam National Plan of Action (NPOA) in 2011 to prevent, discourage and abolish IUU fishing. Other than that is Initiative Regional, the coordination committee of the Regional Plan of Action (RPOA) to promote appropriate fishing practices in the Southeast Asian region, especially combating IUU fishing. Economic issue in Brunei. Brunei is known as a country that rich with oil and gas, but Brunei also experiencing the increasing of unemployment among the youth. Current unemployment rate in Brunei is predicted around 9.50% in 2022, while in 2020 unemployment rate is 8.37%. The increasing of unemployment rate is very worrying because youth is the next generation that will lead and help to build economy in Brunei. The unemployment rate for the age 15 years old and above are 52.7% for male and 47.3% for female, while unemployment rate for the age of 18 until 59 years old are 52.3% for male and 47.7% for female. According to the research by Brunei's government, the highest unemployment rate that Brunei ever achieved was 9.32% in 2017, 8.70% in 2018, and 8.47% in 2016. In 2016, one of the reasons why unemployment rate is increasing in Brunei is because of the combination of dropping oil prices and decreased government revenue. There is limited opportunity for the government to generate jobs. Government in Brunei generate revenue from the oil and gas. Job seeker in Brunei, they prefer to work in government sector rather than in other sectors like agriculture and technical. These sectors commonly filled by foreign workers rather than local people in Brunei. Other reason is because unemployment people in Brunei must compete with graduated students. Graduated students are high in Brunei. After they graduated from the universities, they are ready to apply and work, especially in government sector. One of the solutions to decrease an unemployment recommended by the monarch of Brunei is improve efforts and methods in the collaboration of capacity building for adolescents by providing a suitable environment to increase the efficacy of addressing unemployment.
Alright, my name is Nonisa Bitumanase and I will present with you about the social issues in Brunei. Alright, the first social issue that we can see it is a financial hardship. It was because when some people that have no job, then they absolutely have no money to pay anything like a bill and expenses. Also, it was lead to the more serious problem among citizens. Then the second social issues it was a violence and public disorder. What is violence? Violence it was an act of physical force that causes or is intended to cause harm. The damage inflicted by violence may be physical, psychological, or both. Also, violence may be distinguished from aggression, a more general type of hostile behavior that may be physical, verbal, or passive in nature. Meanwhile, the public disorder means such a substantial interference with the public peace as to constitute a significant threat to the health and safety of the people or a significant threat to public or private property. In addition, the last social issues that you can see it was a bully and abuse. Bully it is the act of intimidating a worker person. Meanwhile, an abuse was referred to all forms of ill treatment of an individual or entity. Lastly, before I finish my explanation, I want to share a bit information that I got from the survey from the YAF respondent in University of Brunei Darussalam. Alright, the survey that I got was the score of the social issue problems. The most serious problem it was a financial hardship. It was 39%, and it was followed by violence and public disorder 33%. Then truancy, social issues 29%, and the last it is a bully and abuse 22%. Although it was a very likely most serious issues in Brunei Darussalam, but it was not to be high level from the other countries, and it has just about reached the level where immediate policy attention that is required.
Despite being a wealthy, tiny developing country with abundant natural resources and a conservative population with stringent religious beliefs, Brunei also has its own environmental issues. With topic emphasis, skill advancement and value development, the educational system may be regarded as balanced. The study's findings, however, demonstrate that its unique circumstances have not effectively fostered ecologically responsible behavior. Young people are aware of environmental concerns, but they are not well versed in them. Even while these young people care about the environment and want to help, their perceived abilities and actual participation in environmental action do not match their ambition. The students indicated beliefs based on the environmental paradigm rather than the science and technology paradigm, and if their environmental knowledge and skills to act for the environment will improve, they may become more involved in the environment. The media's power as a source of environmental information might be used to this end. Their anger, helplessness, worry, and urge to act or flee are comparable to those observed in other nations in this study and must be taken into account if they are to be helped in coping with or preventing environmental problems as adults. That, ladies and gentlemen, was what we wanted to share with you. I appreciate it that you'll be able to hear our explanation of Brunei Historical, and thank you in advance.